Bertong kulat!
Daryong Dagol!
Ano tong balitang pinagkakalat mo dito sa baluarte ko, ha?
Anong balita?
Huwag ka na magmaang-maangan pa!
Ayun ba? Ha? Hindi ba totoo naman? Nasabi ang lunas sa COVID. Alam mo ba kung nasa nabang kamayaw? Nasa naga talaga yun. At higit sa lahat, fake news talaga yung ads sa revolution.
Umas ka ba? Ano ba pinagsasabi mo? Saan mo pinagkukuha yan?
Huh, syempre, nag-research ako, no? Sa Tuktok University. Palibasa kasi at umugot ka na at laos, kaya hindi mo alam yun. Ano, ha?
Lord naman! Magpaulan ka naman ng katalinuhan!
Reliable source of information, sari-saring content na isinulat ng mga eksperto, mga librong di kalidad na abot hanggang sa doomsday, tumawag ka lang sa akin. By the way, hindi ako si Lord. Ako si Vibal.
O pre, tingnan mo to. Di ba sabi ko sa'yo, totoo ang EDSA Revolution?
Oo nga, no? O tapos ito, wala pala talaga sa Naga ang bulkang mayon.
Sabi ko sa'yo eh.
Hi everyone! May hinahanap kami.
Naghahanap kami ng bagong teacher, Vibal.
Kailangan namin ng mga bibong guro na mahilig makipag-interact at hindi camera shy.
Game na game din sa challenges para mas maging fun and fantastic ang learning experience ng mga bata.
Kaya kung ikaw ay isang licensed professional teacher and with pleasing personality, we want you!
Mag-upload lamang ng inyong pinaka-creative na TikTok video. Pwede ninyong i-promote ang inyong city or hometown o i-discuss ang paborito ninyong lesson na makikita sa alinmang Vibal textbooks. Huwag kalimutang itag o isama sa caption ang @TikTok Paaralan at ang hashtag na #TeacherVibal.
Madali lang, di ba? At kahit na ano pa ang edad, kasarian o lahing pinanggalingan, welcome na welcome kayong sumali!
Kaya don't miss the chance! Samahan kami sa mas exciting new season ng Teacher Vibal.
Hihintayin namin kayo!
Good day, Kavipal, and welcome to our Facebook Live. For the discussion today, the topic will be on BlendFlex and HyFlex, promoting delivery modes for students' engagement and retention. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. Make sure you're registered to the webinar to have your e-certificate of participation. Visit certificate.vibalgroup.com or eturo.org to generate your proof of attendance. Share the video using #LearnAs1PH as our official hashtag to our Bibal webinars. Experience learning, Kabibal. And now, to proceed with our webinar this afternoon, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker today. He graduated with bachelor's degree in business administration, majoring in human resource development management at University of Caloocan City in 2017. He also took a certificate in professional education at the University of Caloocan City in 2018. In the year 2019, he became a licensed professional teacher. He is now currently studying at Polytechnic University of the Philippines with Master of Arts in Educational Management with specialization in Educational Leadership and Management. He's a faculty member at E.M. Castro Educational Foundation Incorporated from 2018 to 2020. At present, he is a college instructor, senior high school teacher, and Supreme Student Government Advisor of Senior High School Department at Immaculada Concepcion College. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Aris V. Salomon.
Hello mga ka-Vibal, good afternoon and welcome to another session for this afternoon entitled BlendFlex and HyFlex, Promoting Delivery Models for Students' Engagement and Retention. The shift to remote teaching during the ongoing pandemic has prompted faculty to deliver creative online experiences for their students, combining different modes of delivery and using new technology tools. Flexibility is at the core of these two types of curriculum innovation models. BlendFlex and HyFlex courses follow a single syllabus with regularly scheduled lectures, assignments, and assessments. However, students may attend each lecture either in person, through video conferencing, or by watching recorded lectures. The same flexibility extends to instructors who can attend virtually or in person. With HyFlex, students are able to move back and forth between these three options at any time throughout the class. So this model differs slightly from BlendFlex in that with BlendFlex, students are often assigned to attend specific synchronous and asynchronous classes. So we are focusing this afternoon on this session about BlendFlex and HyFlex, as well as the engagement of the students in promoting this kind of delivery model. So to start with, just a short information about this. If we're talking about HyFlex, from the word high, it means hybrid, and blend refers to blended learning. If there was one scenario besides being back to normal or fully remote in the fall that we hear more about than others, it would be a HyFlex model. This may be because a hybrid or high flexibility approach is relatively easy to envision. In HyFlex, courses are delivered both in person and online at the same time by the same faculty member. Students can then choose for each and every class meeting whether to show up for class in person or to join it online. The underlying design ethos behind the HyFlex model is flexibility and student choice. On the other hand, the BlendFlex model provides the foundation for a move to a fully remote learning experience for one person or a whole class should that become necessary. And the BlendFlex model is an innovative course delivery method that offers face-to-face, online, and hybrid student experiences running simultaneously. So to further elaborate all these things about BlendFlex and HyFlex, let us have first the webinar objectives. So at the end of the webinar, the participants should be able to first differentiate HyFlex and BlendFlex. Next, recognize the four fundamental values of or principles of hybrid flexible design by Dr. Brian J. Beatty, and appraise the benefits and challenges of BlendFlex and HyFlex to students, teachers, and program. And here are our outlines. So we are going to discuss or talk about first, and we are going to define first deeper what is HyFlex and BlendFlex. How does BlendFlex differ from HyFlex? Third is four fundamental values or principles of HyFlex according to Beatty. Fourth, how are colleges and universities implementing HyFlex or BlendFlex? And last, it is all about the benefits and challenges of BlendFlex and HyFlex to students, teachers, and programs. So let us start with our discussion by having this quotation from Brian Tracy. But before that, before we go with the statement of Mr. Tracy, let me give a background of our uh, of Brian Tracy. So he is a Canadian American motivational public speaker and self-development author. So according to Brian Tracy, that be clear about your goal, but be flexible about the process of achieving it. It is really important for us as an individual to have this setting of goals, because goal setting is a process that starts with careful consideration of what you want to achieve and ends with a lot of hard work to actually do it. So meaning, if you want to achieve a certain objective or goal or specific um, output or outcome you want to achieve, then before you achieve that goal, you must undergo the process. And once you achieve your goal and you became flexible on it, then there's no reason for you to fail. There's no reason for you not to continue learning, not to continue to achieve your goals or your dreams. So it's really important when you are setting your goal. Now, aside from being clear about your goal, it is really important also to make it or to let yourself become flexible in achieving it. Because there are some instances that you will face some dilemmas, some problems in life, and you need to solve those problems. And by solving those problems, you might tell that you are flexible enough and you have the chance to surpass or to pass those problems. And that is really important to become flexible in your life. All right. So let us start this session by defining what is HyFlex and BlendFlex. So what are HyFlex and BlendFlex? HyFlex and BlendFlex are new models of teaching and learning made possible by digital technology. Yes, it's really nowadays, it's evidently seen nowadays. Most of the schools and universities, they are using HyFlex and BlendFlex now, because it's now because of the pandemic that we are experiencing right now. Then therefore, they offer not courses fit to the demands of their lives, especially when they are complicated by pandemics or natural disasters. Whereas students are not be able to send to the school and they are not able to go because of different problems. For instance, the student is working right now, the student is having a sick or any problems that might hinder you to go to the school. That is why we have the HyFlex and BlendFlex to help those students who are experiencing complicated situations such as pandemics, natural disasters, even social and economic issues. And it's really difficult for them. That's why with the help of HyFlex and BlendFlex, it is now easy and seamless for them to learn new things. And that is the importance of HyFlex and BlendFlex. So what is HyFlex? On the left part, it includes the synchronous as well as with the asynchronous setup. And on the right side, it includes the face-to-face or the flipped classroom. So the first one, this gives students the freedom to study when and where they want to based on their needs, desires, and preference. So if we're talking about HyFlex, you allow the students have the choice when and where they want to study, where and when they want to achieve their needs. Next, students can choose to take the class online in both classroom or in classroom or both. So meaning the students can choose whether they want to attend synchronously, whether they want to attend asynchronously, or they want to go to school to have face-to-face classes. Next, course material is offered in traditional and online formats. This is something to do with printed modules, meaning under HyFlex mode of learning and teaching, modules are or printed modules are available because that is in traditional as well as the textbooks, and is also available in libraries, in e-library, in online formats, or even soft copies of PDFs, which posted on different online platforms so that the student can have this accessibility of learning resources. Next, students can choose how they attend courses weekly, which can resolve many scheduling conflicts. As what I said a while ago, HyFlex and BlendFlex invented or made because for the students' uh, development, for the students' continuation of learning. Because there are some students affected by pandemic, by natural disasters, who are working students who are currently employed, and with the help of HyFlex, they can set on how they want to attend, on how they want to participate on the class discussions, whether they want to attend weekly, daily, or topically. So to sum up, HyFlex classes combine elements of both online and classroom-based learning. They take hybrid courses to a new level of flexibility. So it's really important as a student as well as the teachers to become flexible on how to achieve the goals, the set goals and objectives of a certain subject. So it's really important for you to become flexible. It's really important and vital for you to think another plan, for you to think a new way of achieving your goals, like in learning. So that's why we have the HyFlex or the uh, hybrid flexibility mode of learning. So it's really important to have this kind of learning modality because sometimes there are students that experiencing difficulties in life, and having the high flexibility approach is relatively easy to envision. All right, so let's now proceed with this kind of, or with this visual representation on how HyFlex teaching and learning occurs. So we have here the red one, which is the instructor, the yellow circle, which are who are the students attending in classes. Then we have the remote students who are not inside of a typical face-to-face classes. So there is an instructor, there is an in-class students, they are in one group, and on the other hand, we have the remote students. So the learning process continuously, or the learning process is happening simultaneously, whereas we have this instructor, the students, and we have those students who are in remote centers or in remote sites. And the video, audio, as well as the chat are simultaneously happening throughout the learning process. And there is evidently an engagement, as well as the participation of the students. And that's really the importance of having this HyFlex teaching and learning mode. All right. So let's now proceed on the definition of BlendFlex. So according to this definition, BlendFlex combines elements of HyFlex and flipped classroom models with asynchronous and synchronous online components. So if we are talking about BlendFlex, this one or the model provides a foundation for a move to fully remote learning experience for one person or a whole class. And it's really necessary. So the BlendFlex model is an innovative course delivery method that offers face-to-face, online, and hybrid student experiences running simultaneously. Now, maybe some of you are still confused on how HyFlex and BlendFlex differ from each other. Now, I am the one who will answer your curiosity on how does BlendFlex differ from HyFlex. So, although Dr. Beatty has described BlendFlex as very much the same as HyFlex, yes, at first it's really hard for us to comprehend on how these two differ from each other because they are really related to each other. They're really somehow the same, but there is a difference. Later on, we'll focus on that. So, according to Dr. Beatty, that he described BlendFlex as very much the same as HyFlex. In some BlendFlex implementations, there is less flexibility. So, meaning to say, this two types of learning and teaching mode of delivery, the BlendFlex and HyFlex, meaning the BlendFlex is having a less flexibility, meaning it is not that really attainable to all the aspects of learning and teaching. It is common in BlendFlex, for example, for instructors to pre-assign students face-to-face attendance on certain days. On other days, they may choose how to participate, for example, whether to attend remotely, watch a recorded session, or complete an online module. Here, in BlendFlex, as well as on our definition a while ago, that it mentioned the word flipped classroom. And if we are talking about flipped classroom, this is incorporated with the word BlendFlex or the blended flexible learning. Why? Because if we're talking about flipped classroom, the materials are already there, the learning resources are already there. All you have to do is to study all those learning resources. Those are what we call pre-assigned tasks. Whereas if you are going now to a typical or traditional face-to-face classes, you are now ready. You are now aware on what will be the topic on that certain day. So there will be having a face-to-face attendance on certain days, and flipped classroom is also the same with the BlendFlex or with the blended learning. All right. So let us have here this one, the course model at a glance, so that we can have a clear picture on how this BlendFlex and HyFlex and BlendFlex differ from each other. So we have here where we have brick and mortar, meaning this one is having a face-to-face classes, the traditional classes where us the students should go to their respective schools. Then the virtual learning environment, this one is in synchronous classes, whereas they are going to attend a certain or specific time virtually or in online using different video call meetings. Then when at a scheduled time, Then on next is at the student's own time, how on-site classroom technology and mobile portable technology. Now, if we're going to look on the HyFlex uh, learning and teaching mode of delivery, we have here the student, whereas he or she has the potential or can go to their school. Now we have the brick and mortar. Then we have the virtual learning environment, meaning in HyFlex learning and teaching delivery, you can still attend different online classes, virtual classes, and then in HyFlex, this is really the difference between the two. In HyFlex, you can access all the learning materials, all the learning resources, meaning you have this flexibility based on your own desires and demands. Okay, so that is how we define HyFlex. It is considering the flexibility and the student's choice because we have this 24/7 accessibility of our students. And there is a scheduled time. There are some scenarios or there are some times that there is a scheduled time to accomplish a certain or a specific task given by the teacher. And let's proceed on the blended. We have the brick and mortar. Again, as what we said a while ago, that in HyFlex and BlendFlex, they are both attending traditional or face-to-face classes. And then the next one, in blended, there is only a scheduled time. There is only a specific time frame or allotted time for you to submit or for you to accomplish a certain task or work. And next is on-site classroom technology in BlendFlex, and then the mobile portable technology. So if we're going to give a big difference between these two, it is really important for us to consider the accessibility. And in HyFlex, compared to BlendFlex, in HyFlex, the students have their own choice. It shows a big flexibility on how to attend specific synchronous and asynchronous classes. So that's how HyFlex and BlendFlex differ from each other. All right, so I hope you got it right. I hope you got it well on how this HyFlex and BlendFlex differ from each other. But both of these two, the learning still can be seen in school, in synchronous classes, in asynchronous classes. It's just that in HyFlex, since you are in fully remote scenario, then in accessibility in HyFlex, you can access it 24/7 because you might experience several factors that may hinder you to go on a scheduled time, like what we said in sometimes in employment status, in pandemic issues, different natural scenario or phenomenon. All right, so those are the differences between HyFlex and BlendFlex. All right, so let's now proceed on the 4 fundamental values or principles of HyFlex according to Beatty, or to Dr. Brian Beatty. But before that, let me give a background. Who is Dr. Brian Beatty? He is an associate professor of instructional technologies in the Department of Equity, Leadership Studies, and Instructional Technologies at San Francisco State University. His primary areas of interest and research include social interaction in online learning, flipped classroom, implementation and developing instructional design theory for hybrid flexible learning environments, or the HyFlex. All right, so now let's proceed on the four fundamental values or principles of HyFlex. So according to him, there are four principles or values, and the first one is the learner choice. Here, according to his definition, it provides meaningful alternative participation modes and enables students to choose between participation modes daily, weekly, or topically. So it's really important for us to consider the choice of our learners, because the primary reason of HyFlex course design should give the students choice in how they want to complete course activities in any given week, or in some cases per topic. Without meaningful choice, there is no flexibility, no flex, and therefore no HyFlex. So the course provides alternative participation, and you allow the students to choose the mode of engagement that works best for them. All right, so example, I am a fast food crew. Now, I wasn't able to attend classes or face-to-face classes because of my work. So if they are using HyFlex, they are going to consider the position of that student who is a working student as a fast food crew, whereas he or the school will ask on how this student wants to attend, wants to engage or participate in class discussion. So this is really the importance of HyFlex. HyFlex mode of learning and teaching, considering the position or the shake or the stand of the students, so that they can still learn, so that they can still gain knowledge. And the first is the learner choice. Second is equivalency. Provide learning activities in all participation modes, which lead to equivalent learning outcomes. So a well-designed alternative participation modes should lead to equivalent learning. Providing an alternative approach by students or to students, which leads to inferior learning. Equivalency does not imply equality, however. And the modes, though though it is not equal, but it provides equivalent learning outcomes. All students are expected to reflect, contribute, developing ideas, and interact with their peers in the process of learning. So there is an equivalency, or there is an equivalent or equality, actually not really equality, but equity to the students, for them to reflect, for them to contribute ideas and interact with their peers or their classmates. There is all participation modes, meaning the students are really engaged in HyFlex learning. Next, reusability. Utilize artifacts from learning activities in each participation mode as learning objects for all students. For future purposes, usually we reuse as teachers, no? We reuse, or for future purposes, you need to reuse it, such as video recordings, discussion, transcripts, or notes. presentation files and handouts, and other forms of representation of in-class activities can be very useful for both online students and for classroom students wishing to review after the class session is finished. Usually, if we're talking about reusability, these are the learning activities, whereas it has the factor to reuse it, to represent again, like the recordings, the discussions, so that you can connect and support all the students. As well as if we're talking about reusability, all the learning materials should be available online and offline. And we as teachers, most of our records, or most of our recordings, most of our handouts are being kept for our future needs, for our future purposes, because for another academic year, we are still going to use those. It's just that we need to revise or we need to innovate some of the things, but still it goes or it falls under reusability. In HyFlex, most of the learning resources are reused. All right. And then the fourth one, it is all about the accessibility. Equip students with technology skills and equitable access to all participation modes. So students are equipped with the technological resources and skills to equally access all participation modes. If we're talking about accessibility here, me as a teacher, um, I let the students to make all the things convenient for them so that it's easy for them to access, it's easy for them to navigate all the things to look for a certain topic or for certain activities. For instance, if you are using Google Classroom, it's really accessible for them to get or to see all the activities, to get all the learning or the resource materials. So in HyFlex, you should consider the participation of your students. Is it really accessible for the students to get all the things in our portal in our classroom? No. So accessibility, reusability, equivalency, and learner choice are the four fundamental values or principles of HyFlex. So most of it are focusing on the student's need. Like in learner choice, we are considering the position of our students on how they want to select or on how they want to participate in classes. Equivalency, we must ensure that there is a what do you call this? Equivalency does not imply equality, however, but equity. We are providing alternative approach to students, which leads to inferior learning. And reusability, for the future purposes, we must kept all the important things so that we can use it in the future. And accessibility, you must ensure that it is for the convenience of our students. Right. So on the fourth part, we have here the colleges and universities implementing HyFlex or BlendFlex. Most colleges and universities start with a limited number of HyFlex or BlendFlex implementation courses, perhaps with one or two pilots first. To work out the challenges, a curriculum that may have been used only for in-person classes, even if proven successful, may need to be adjusted so that it is equally successful in online synchronous and asynchronous approaches. Training for instructors in addressing the complexities of delivering a curriculum with three approaches is essential, especially when the goal is to help students achieve the same kinds of successful results, regardless of which approaches they choose. All right, so in implementing HyFlex and BlendFlex, it's really a challenge for a school to use this kind of learning and teaching modality. They are going to plan, they're going to think, they're going to provide training for the teachers, for the instructors on how they will equip this kind of teaching modality. But did you know that here in the Philippines, we have some schools and universities who are already using BlendFlex and HyFlex? So in HyFlex, we have Malayan Colleges Mindanao, that is a Mapua school. We have Brent International School in Manila. And we have, in BlendFlex, we have the Apex Schools, and we have Ridley International School Incorporated in Pasig City. So usually those schools I mentioned, at the very first part of implementing this HyFlex and BlendFlex, I assure that they experience some challenges. They are risks. I mean, they are taking some of the risks for them to achieve, for them to become successful implementing this kind of teaching modality. And we are now on the fifth part, which all about the benefits and challenges of BlendFlex and HyFlex to students, teachers, and programs. So let us start with the benefits of BlendFlex and HyFlex to students, teachers, and programs. First, students choose the course approaches. As what we mentioned a while ago on the 4 principles and values of HyFlex, according to Dr. Brian Beatty, that we must consider the learner's choice. So students can choose the course approach. We are allowing the students on how they want to complete a course activity or a subject activities in any given week. They're going to select, are they going to submit this weekly, monthly, or topically? So the students have its freedom to select on how they want to participate, on how they want to engage in classroom discussions, or in virtual discussions, or in a face-to-face or physical discussions. Next, video recorded lectures are available to students in an online archive for all class sessions. Okay, so on the picture I've shown a while ago, that all the learning materials, all the learning resources are available online, even offline. That is why we have this, what we called accessibility to our students, as well as reusability. Why? Because these video recorded lectures, now these different learning materials such as the handouts, files, transcripts, now these are very important. These are very useful in class activities. Why? Because if we have those things, we assure the students are still engaged on our discussions, because they are just going to watch those video recorded lectures and answer all the given tasks or activities to them, and they are still on the track. They are still on the path of learning this kind of course or this kind of subject. All right. So on the third bullet, students who want to be very engaged with teachers, as well as those who don't have a choice. They can attend asynchronous in-person or remote class with a teacher, or they can complete their assignments asynchronously largely on their own. In a HyFlex mode, they can easily switch back and forth if they wish. All right. So meaning the benefits of BlendFlex and HyFlex is that they can choose on how they want to attend their classes. Whether they want to attend synchronous in person, that one is in a flipped classroom, or remote class with a teacher, or synchronous classes, virtual learning, or asynchronous, whereas there is a specific given task to them and they're going to answer it on their own. So those are some of the benefits of BlendFlex and HyFlex to students, teachers, and programs so that we ensure that there is an engagement and retention to our students. Also, flex modes can offer opportunities for student engagement by allowing them to choose when they need in-person instruction and when online synchronous or asynchronous instruction. So again, we are focusing here on the learner choice as well as the equivalency of our students. Next, using flex modes also means the students can stay enrolled in the class when they cannot attend in person for some period of time but can engage remotely with content that addresses the same content standards until they can return to the class in person. That can increase student persistence or program retention and course completion. So see, those are the benefits of BlendFlex and HyFlex to students and teachers. Here, we are providing or we are allowing the students on for them to stay enrolled and ask them if they are ready now to attend online classes and if they are ready now to attend in-person or physical or face-to-face classes, so that we can ensure that they are really engaged on our discussion, because here it is being stated that it can increase student persistence and program retention and course completion. If we are always considering the sake, if we are always considering the choices of our learners. So those are just some of the benefits of BlendFlex and HyFlex. And at this point, these are the challenges. These are the problems being encountered if you are using BlendFlex or HyFlex learning and teaching delivery mode. First, students generally are not familiar with the flex model when they begin instruction. It can be jarring at first, yes. It's really, the students, even the teachers, if they are not familiar with this flex model, the best thing to do so that you solve this challenge or this problem is to orient the students as well as the teachers on how this flex model will occur or will happen. For instance, on the first day of the class, the teacher will explain what is BlendFlex, what is HyFlex, how do they differ from each other, what are the benefits or what are advantages and disadvantages of this. So it's really important for you to familiarize, for you to become well informed about this flex model. All right, next, there may be significant costs for equipment and training teachers how to use it. Since BlendFlex and HyFlex are new to some, then the first thing you need to do is to acquaint them what are these flex models. Now, after they are informed After they gain knowledge on what this HyFlex and BlendFlex all about, you need to set the teachers to have their training, to have their seminars, so that they can practice it now, so that they can uh, do it now, they can exercise it now on how BlendFlex and HyFlex will happen in a real life or in a face-to-face virtual and asynchronous setup, as well as with the equipment. Why? Because uh, at some point, you're going to use different equipment for you to use this kind of flex models. For instance, computers, different technologies that can help you to teach efficiently and effectively to your students. Next, a year-long planning effort may be needed to prepare the flex curriculum so it can be seamlessly used by the teachers and students in person, remote synchronously, and remote asynchronously. So there is a planning. There is an effort. For instance, next year, we want to use HyFlex and BlendFlex as our delivery instruction. Now, before you implement this kind of model, you need to have a year-long planning. No, you need to set all the things, you need to study all the things. For instance, how about the student? How about the needs of the students? How about the needs of the teachers? What are the materials we're going to use? Are we ready enough? Do we have our facilities? Are teachers well informed with this kind of model? So there is a planning effort for you to prepare, for you to use this flex delivery model. And once you are now informed, once you are now, or once you mastered it now, then you can use it now. And it can be seamlessly used by the teachers and students in person, as well as synchronously and asynchronously. All right, so before we end with our session, I would like to leave this quotation from our former secretary, or from our former DepEd secretary, Leonor Magtolis Briones, on her uh, lines, or on her interview in the Manghas interviews on education in the Philippines amid the COVID-19 pandemic. She stated, education must continue. No ifs, no buts. Whatever happens, it has to continue. By whatever means, it has to continue. We owe it to our learners. So by having this quotation that I would like to leave before we end our session, it is really important for us to become flexible, especially now in the trying times in the pandemic. As what we mentioned a while ago, according to Brian Tracy, that when you are setting your goals, you must become flexible. And our goal is to continue learning. Our goal is to continue gaining knowledge. Now, we have this problem, which is pandemic. And not only pandemic, but we have the social, economic issues, as well as natural disasters, which might hinder us to continue education. But according to Secretary Briones, whatever happens, it has to continue. Therefore, we must become flexible. We must think creatively on how we are still keep our students learn new things. And if we're going to incorporate perennialism here, it is an educational philosophy, whereas a perennialist, he or she consider everyone as a lifelong learners. So meaning, it is a continuous process. And I do really agree that learning or education is a continuous process. Education must continue even if we are facing COVID-19 pandemic, if even if we are facing different natural disasters, we must become flexible on it. Because there's a lot of things for us to innovate, for us to think. And by using HyFlex and BlendFlex, we might say that we still have a great future generations. By the help of HyFlex and BlendFlex, we can still continue the education for our learners. All right. I do really hope that you learned a lot from our discussion this afternoon about BlendFlex and HyFlex promoting delivery modes for the students' engagement and retention. With this, these are the references I used on our discussion, and you can cite it for your future purposes, as what reusability said by Dr. Brian Viati. And with this, thank you so much, mga kavibal. See you soon and have a great day ahead. Thank you so much and God bless everyone.
There we have it. In behalf of the Ball Group Incorporated, I would like to thank our speaker for his eye-opening and insightful learning session. It is an honor to have you with us today. And to all our Kavibal viewers, all thanks to you for your continuous patronage to our daily learning session. Don't forget to register to get your e-certificate of participation. The link is in the caption of this webinar. We encourage you also to subscribe and watch on our official Facebook and YouTube channel. Muli, maraming salamat at magandang araw sa ating lahat.